Okay, good luck. Today's daf is Lamed Beis. We're in the middle of a segue to a sugya. Okay, let's chazer iber, as we say. We had a halach l'maisa situation where two people were fighting over a piece of land. One person brought edus that it was his father's, and he had shani chazaka. And the other person had edus that at the same time he had shani chazaka, he had shani chazaka. But he had no edus that it was his father's. So Rav Nachman said that we take the two edim, they cancel out, and therefore you have a viable edus that if you give it to the one who said it was his father's, it stays by him. Rava disagreed, and Rava said these are edim, these are liars. How can you go ahead and be samech upon them? Okay. Consequently, the person who had previously only had edus on the fact that it was his shani chazaka, he put edus that it was his father, that had been his father's as well. So now you had matching testimonies. You had two people saying it belonged to the fathers, and two people saying that it belonged to, that it was achal shani chazaka, and basically they cancel each other out. So Rav Nachman was left in giving it over to one of them rather than the other. So what did he say? I gave it to him, and I'll take it back from him. And zilusa de beidina, and the fact that it seems like it's a zilzul bezdin, that bezdin is retracting their psak, I'm not going to worry about. Fred the Gemara, you don't worry about the zilzul of bezdin. We brought a case where two people came and said this guy died. Two people said that, and then two people came and said didn't die. So if they married, if she got married, and then the two people came and said it died, you said that you don't, you do not go ahead and make her leave because you worry about the zilzul of bezdin. Okay, you worry about the zilzul of bezdin. So let's pick it up over there. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 lines up. 13 lines up. So Amalei Anos Savrei on Samech Lamed Aleph on the base. Anos Savrei Lemevad Uvda, said Rav Nachman, I thought to go ahead and retract. In other words, and take it back from the person who gave it and not worry about Zilzul Bezdin. Hashter doi sivasan at, since you are going ahead and slugging me up, right? You asking Rav Nachman, you're slugging up, who asked, I guess Rava? Rabbi asked Rav Nachman, Rava asked Rav Nachman, you're slugging me up, or some say it was Rav Seira. V'oisvan Rav Hamnuna, either Misuria, and also from the same source, Rav Hamnuna Misura also slugging me up, that you do worry about Zilzul Bezdin. Le'avdin and ba'uvda. I won't go ahead and take it back from the person I gave it to. So the person who initially brought edus for father and chazaka of 3 years, when the other one just brought chazaka 3 years, I'll keep it by him. Nafik of the uvda. And in the end, you know what he did? He took it away from him. In the end, he took it away from him. Mandecha, so the one who sort of Nachman do this, Savar, to Usahi. He thought it was a mistake that he took it back from him. After all, he just clearly said, we worry about the Zilzul Bezdin. And once I gave it to him, I should leave it by him. And now he's going ahead and taking it away from him. So one who saw this thought the great Rav Nachman, the expert in Dinei Mamonis, made a mistake. And that you should be worried about the Zilzul Bezdin, you should have left it by him. However, he's going to have an ashla ravavi, 2 pshatim. Either he's going to have tall trees or strong rope, meaning 3 heavy hitters who all hold that you don't worry about the zilzul of bezdin. So Rav Nachman, you Rav asked the kasha, Rav Hamnuni asked the kasha, I'm going to have 3 heavy hitter tanoim, 3 heavy hitter tanoim who say you don't worry about zilzul of bezdin. Therefore, I Rav Nachman will go ahead and take it back from that person. Now, the Gemara now for the next daf is going to go ahead, go through a shakla b'tarya and say at the end of the daf who those 3 people were. The Rashbam gives you an insight. Who was the Ashli Ravavi? Who are these big heavy hitters? Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, the Tana Rabbi Yehuda, right? And the Tana Rabbi Elazar, and the Tana Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel. They all hold that you don't worry about the Zilzul Bezdin and you retract. Guys, good? So you got set up. So now all we're going to do right now is see how those three people, don't worry about the Zilzal Bezdin. Good? Okay? Now, what's the case? Says the Gemara again, guys, we're only going to figure it out at the end of Lamed Beis Amid Aleph. We're going through an Amid to figure out these people are. So you have, it's like you have the end of the book. You skip to the end and take a peek how it's going to end. It's going to end that Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel all hold what? You don't worry about the Zilzal Bezdin. So now you have why Rav Nachman went ahead and retracted, because why? He had these heavy hitters, this Ashli Ravavi behind him. Says the Gemara. Ditnan, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Ein Mailin Lekun Al Pi Eid Echad. Again, a person, you have this question, you don't know if it's a kohen or not, regarding giving him truma, regarding Birchas Kahanim, regarding doing the Avaida, right? And if a person comes along and says he's a kohen, we're not going to go ahead and make him a kohen. Al Pi Eid Echad. Amar Rebbe Lazar, says Rebbe Lazar, Eimosai, this is important, Eimosai, Bizman sheyesh olav oyrin. That's dafka where there are oyrin saying he's not a kohen. Aval b'makom she'ena oyrin ma'ilin l'kahun al pi echad. So pashut pshat means what? If we have people who say this guy's not a kohen, and one person says he is, we're not going to listen to that one person. If no one says if no one's saying he's not, but one person says he is, then you would. That's pashut pshat. We're going to change that. But that's Pasha Pshat. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, here's your second of the Ashli Ravavi. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel is the third of the Ashli Ravavi. You have Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Lazar explaining Rabbi Yehuda, guys. Rabbi Lazar was explaining Rabbi Yehuda, saying he only said his din when what? When there were no Oyrin. Where the Oyrin. Amar Mishum Rabbi Shimon ben Sagan, the son of the Sagan HaKoyin, Mailin Lekun Al Pi Eid Echad. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Hainu Rebbe Lazar. L'chayra, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says you're Mailin. L'chayra is saying the same thing as Rebbe Lazar. In other words, there's no svara to say that Rabbi Shimon Gamliel would say that b'makam oyrin you're going to believe one keneged oyrin. So it must be that what? Even it must be there's no oyrin, and therefore he's saying the same as Rebbe Lazar. So l'chayra, what is the difference between them? So v'chi tema iruchad ikabinayu, where one person is ma'arer and saying that he's not a kohen, and Rabbi Lazar saw that Iruchad is an era, and therefore we won't believe that one aid. Rav Shimon saw that Irutrei too, and therefore we would believe the one aid. There's no question about a person, ma'arer, that it's not true, less than two. So therefore, it can't be 1 versus 1 and 2 versus 1. It's got to be 2. And in both cases, they both say that an Eid Echad is not believed. So question, what's the distinction between, guys, what's the distinction between Reb Shimon ben Gamliel and Rebbe Lazar? There must be a distinction. And it can't be the distinction that you're suggesting that the Keneged one era you believe, because there is no sting as one era. There's no sting as one person being Ma'ari. You need 2. Says the Gemara, Ella Irutrei. What are we dealing with over here? Kigoin the mechaskinan lei ba'avua the hay the kainhu. In other words, we're not a complete stranger. We have a chazaka. We're muchzik that this guy's father was a kohen. Okay, so if his father's a kohen, generally this week's parsha, guys, right? Usually Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron a kohen. Usually, if your father's a kohen, you're a kohen. Pinchas is a kasha. Why not? Okay. The nafik kala the ben gerusha ben chalutzahu. His father's a kohen, but he could be a chalal. A kohen, if a kohen lives with a ben gerusha or he marries a gerusha and has a child, that child's a chalal. The child's not a kohen or a chalutza. So now there's a koil. Now a koil means no edus. It's just a rumor. There's a koil going out that this person was questionable lineage, but achtinon, and therefore as a result he was taken down. We'll see what that means in a second. He was taken down. So again, right now, guys, he was a kohen, and now we took him down. For Asa Eid Echad comes along an aid for Amar the kohen who the kohen gomahu. It's right. The kohen gomahu. He comes along an aid and says that he's a kohen. The askine, and we brought him back up. So a koil took him down. An Eid Echad is believed keneged a koil. A koil is a rumor. Is believed, and we brought him back up. The Asu Beitrei, and now comes along too The Amri de ben Gerusha v'chalutzahu. We said that he's a ben Gerusha ben Chalutza. The Achtine, we took him back down. The Asaid Echad v'Amed the Kayin who, and now what? Comes along another one and said he's a Kayin. So let's get the case straight. It's a little wordy. That's the case. This guy, right now, he's a Kayin, his father's a Kayin. Now starts, a coil comes out that what? He's a ben Gerusha ben Chalutza. We're not going to let him duchim. We're not going to let him do the avodah. We're not going to give him truma. Comes along 1 8 echad. He is a kohen. We bring him back up. Comes along 2 and says that what? That he's not, and we bring him back down. Comes along 2 and we bring him back down. So that's okay. So now, so far so good. Good. Now be aware, guys. This guy's been brought up and down twice. He was brought up after the koil, and he was brought down, but after the koil, and he was brought down after the 2 Eidim, right? He's been brought down twice. Keep that in mind. Now, now it comes along what? Another Eid Echad and saying it's a kohen. So now what do we have? We have Kenny giving the signs. We have 2 Eidis who testified as one that he's not, and we have 2 Eid Echad separately testifying that he was. If you're mitzarif the Eidus, good. If you're mitzarif the Eidus, now you have 2 versus 2, and he should be a kohen, right? Good. And so now, udekuli alma mitzarfin Eidus. Everyone, Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, they both hold you mitzarif Eidus, and therefore it's 2 versus 2. And the whole shaila over here is where you're just worried about the zilzul bezdin. Rebbe Lazar Savar, Kivin the Achtine, since we took him down, but for the second time, as a result of the 2 Eidim, loy maskin lay, we won't go ahead and bring him back up. Why? Because Chashina l'zilusa de Beidina. Reb Shimon Gamliel Savar, Ano Achtine, we brought him back down, but Ano maskin lay, and we'll bring him back up because it's 2 versus 2, and we have the Chazaka. And we're not worried about the silsila bezdin. Okay, so now, how do you read the Gemara? Earlier? Good. Now, guys, look at the Rashbam. The last word before it gets wide. V'hachi kama Rebbe Lazar. Ein masai ein mailin al pi'ed echad. What? Habal l'seif. When you're not maila al pi'ed echad, that comes at the end. Sheyesh lav oirim shnayim apasulim. I say hilkach loy mahani eit sheni habal lebeseif lahachshiroi litztaref imarisha namachshir. So go back to the Gemara, guys. Go back to the Amid Beis, and now here's the way we're going to read these words: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines up. Amr Rebbe Lazar Emasai. When do we say that ein echad is not believed? That's his makam sheyesh oirin. That 2 people came along and said what? He's not a kosher kohen. And now what? 1 person came along afterwards and said yes. In that case, we're not going to put him back up. Av makam sheyesh oirin at all, then ma'ilin lekahuna. It comes from Shim Galil. Ma'ilin lekahuna piyed echad. What do you mean you be ma'ilin lekahuna piyed echad? Even after the second one comes, we'll be mitzaref together, and we'll go ahead and bring him up, and we won't worry about the zilzul bezdin. So right now we're holding the machloikis between Rebbe Lazar and Rebbe Shimon Gamliel is whether you go ahead and you worry about the zilzul bezdin. What would the zilzul bezdin be over here? That we took him down as a result of 2 Eidim, right? And now we want to put him back up as a result of mitzaref the Eid. Says Rebbe Lazar, no can do. It's zilzul bezdin. Says Rebbe Shimon Gamliel, yes can do. And we're not ready to zilzul bezdin. Kasha, guys, why weren't we worried when we put him back up after the koil? We took him down the second time, right? You're telling him what you're worried about the zilzul bezdin because the second time, it's not the second, it wasn't the second time, it's the second time you took him down. His father was a kohen. The koil was that he was a ben Gerusha ben Chalutza, and we took him down. And then 1 8 came along and said, he's a kohen, we put him back up. Why at that point in time were you worried about the zilzul bezdin? Take the bottom and just In other words, the same dialogue you had below, put above. We took him down and we put him back up. And everyone said you put him back up. And the answer is, a coil, guys, is not pshat a psak. Bezdin paskin that you, it memela. In other words, well, let's figure it out. There's a coil. Look at Taisus, guys, for a second. Three lines, third Taisus down. V'nafagla coil of achtine, lav dafka achtine. Not that they took him down. Ela klaimar memela yarad. He went down memela. He went down memela because again, we're questioning this person. How could we go ahead and let him do the avodah? If after all, there's a coil, there's a rumor on him. How could we let him do it? That's the way what. But the end of Taisus inami, Hurda Gemura Ka'amar. They did take him down. However, Veleka Zilusa de Bezdin. It's not a Zilzul of Bezdin. Ela Hecha Dariduhu Ayidei Edis. When we take him down through Edim. Alo B'Harda Sh'Ayidei HaKoil Leka Zilusa. If you go down Ayidei Koil, then it's not Zilusa. In other words, Bezdin could pass and it goes down, but since it's a coil, as we all know, a rumor can be just a rumor. If he was taken down al yidei a kol rumor, it doesn't show Bezdin going ahead and a chesaron in Bezdin. They listen to the rumor. But if they accepted Adis, and Adis has the power to go ahead and kill, al pishtayim Adim Yakum David, we can go ahead and kill a person, right? Oh, then it'll be a silsil of Bezdin. So geschmack, guys, okay? In other words, so let's chas what we have so far. We said that we had a dialogue between Rabbi Losa and Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. Apparently, they're saying the same thing. They're saying that if the b'makom sheish oirin, then, but if there's no oirin, yes, you put it up. Says the Gemara, we're going to have an ukimta where this guy was a kohen, a koil took him down, an aid echa put him back up, two aidim took him down, another aid wants to put him back up. Says Rabbi Los that other aid can't put him back up. It's going to be a zilzul bezdin. Says Rabbi Shimon Gamliel that other aid could put him up. We're not worried about zilzul bezdin. What about we took him down the first time? That was the coil. That's not a zilzul bezdin. We're holding good in terms of finding out what of Nachman's Ashley Ravafi. And again, what's the machloikis? The machloikis is a zilzul bezdin, but everyone holds that what you'll be mitzaref edus. You can go ahead and combine them. Good. Everyone holds that second aid you could combine with the first one, and the whole reason you're not putting it back up is because it's also a bezdin. Maskav l'Ravashi ihachi my ir yechad afilu b'trei nami. Guys, watch my hands. Watch my hands. We had the coil. One person put him back up. Two people took him down. Now you have one person over here, and you want to combine these two together, right? What happens if two people come over here? Will we put him back up? If it's zilzul bezdin, has nothing to do with one and one. You're not going to put him up even if you have full set of edis. Guys, you got it? In other words, even if the second ones that said that he's a kohen are two, we're not putting him back up because we took him down. If the whole svar is the zilzul bezdin, even if two people, two edim kosherim come and say that he's a full-fledged kohen, we're not going to put him back up, according to Reb Shimon, according to Rebbe Laza, since you're worried about it. So why'd you learn one? Ella must be one and one has something to do, the fact that it's one and one and not two versus one. Says the Gemara. It's such a geschmack taina, guys. Elam Ravashi, the kuli alma loy chashinon l'zilzul lebeidina. No one is chayish for the zilzul bezdin. Even Rebbe Laza would hold. Guess what? If we have edim, if we're going to combine the edim, we're going to put the guy back up. We're going to put the guy back up. The machloikis is whether you mitzaref the edus or not. Like Rebbe Laza, you're not going to be mitzaref the edim. Once you're not mitzaref the edim, so what do I have? I have one aid saying is a kasha, two saying is not. I have another aid saying is kasha. It's only one aid. It's not two. You don't put them together. I can't put them back up. Like Rav Shimon Gamliel, you would be mitzaref the aid. So I have two saying yes, two saying no. Let's put them back up, guys. But everyone holds what? That you're not worried about the zilzul bezdin. You just found out Rav Nachman's Ashli Rafafi. You find out the whole Rav Nachman's Ashli Rafafi, Rav Yehuda, Rav Elazar, Rav Shimon Gamliel, they all hold you're not worried about the zilzul bezdin. Let's conclude the Gemara. El Amar Avashi the Kuliyam Alei Chashin Lizilusa the Beidina. V'hacha bilitzaref edus kamiflagi. The machlokes between Rav Shimon Gamliel and Rav Elazar is whether you combine the edus. Right? According to Rabbi Laza, you don't, and therefore you only have one aid that is kasha. According to Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, you do. But with plukta the hani tanoi, the Tanya, lo'ilam eine dusim mitzarefes at shiru shneim keachad. It's you're not combined. Edus not combined till they see it. They see it mitzaref, right? Till they see it what at the same time. Rashbam says, "La fuke echadayim b'fnei hilvahu ve'echadayim b'fnei haydalai." One says in front of me he borrowed the money. The other one says he admitted to it in two different times. Rabbi Shuban Karchaima Afilu b'zachazeh. You would combine them. Now, stop over here. Stop over here. The next piece is what we need. Now, this is a statement of the Chachamim. Ein edusim is kayemis bebezdin al sheyidu shneim keechad. Edus is not mekuyim in bezdin unless they go ahead what and testify at the same time. So, so you see that what you will not be mitzdaref edus. Reb Nosson Eimer shoymim devar shel zeh hayom. So you'll hear one today and one tomorrow. You would be mitzdaref. So the machloikus between Rebbe Loza and Shimon Gamliel is a machloikus between the Tana and Reb Nosson. The Chachamim say that you're not mitzdaref to edus. That's Rebbe Loza. Rebbe Nosson says you would be mitzdaref to edus. That's Reb Shimon Gamliel. But what we need is what that everyone holds that Silusa the Beidina you're not worried about. You'll take him down. Said Rav Nachman, that's why I paskin to go ahead and I put him up. I'll put him down again. What can I do? Because I have three Tanoim who say what? You're not worried about the Zilzal Bezdin. Rav Yehuda, Rav Elasa, and Shum Gamliel. Okay, now the Gemara took you on a maze. It really took you on a maze to find this out, and the ideas along the way. But again, Baruch Hashem, I think we got it. Okay, so back to cases in Chesed Sabatim. Guy said to his friend, "My boy is b'hayara. What are you doing on my land?" Amalei said, "Mincha zavinta. I bought it from you, and not only did I bought it from you, the hashtara. I got a star. The guy's he's sitting pretty. Amalei, the guy told him shtar zayfahu. The shtar what? It's a forgery. And now he didn't sit shani chazaka because if he didn't say shani chazaka, he wouldn't have to have the shtar. So now you have nothing keeping you on the land. The only way you can stay on this land, since you being on the land it's not like metaltalin. We spoke out. You sitting on the land does not show it's yours. So therefore, there's two ways to prove it: either be there without me making a macha for 3 years and saying you bought it from me, or producing a shtar within 3 years. He produced a shtar. He said it's mezuyev. He said it's a forgery. Gochin v'lachish leila rabba.
There's no Adam. There's no Adam. There's no Adam on the shtar.
Yeah, there's Adam on the shtar.
So go to the Adam.
He has Adam on the shtar. It's mezuyev. You want to claim the shtar. Okay, we'll see a few different approaches in the Rashbam. Exactly what the shtar is. I'll see in a second. Okay, so we'll see in a second. Heshi brings up a good point. Now, so the person who said that he has a shtar, he was sitting on the land and had the shtar, and now he was accused of having a forgery. Gochin, he bowed down, and lochash leila Rabba, and he whispered to Rava in shtar zayfahu. This shtar is mezuyev. Miu shtar ma'al yahavili ve'erkis. I had a kosher shtar and I lost it. Va'amina inkik haid biyadei koldahu. I'll bring something in my hand. So in a million years, you would not say you would give this guy the land. Here's unique classic Torah Shabbat Peh. The guy goes ahead. He says, "What are you doing on my land?" He goes, "I got a shtar." The guy says the shtar is a forgery. He bends down. He says, "I admit it's a forgery. I had a good shtar, but I lost it." So anyone sitting here or watching on Zoom, no matter where they are, would say, "Get off the land. What are you doing here? You're a liar." Amar Rabba, says Rabba, "Ma loy l'shaker." What does he have to gain by lying? Iboy amalei shtar ma'al yehu. He could say it's a good shtar. Migu, believe me that the shtar is, believe me, the land is mine, right? Migu, that I could have said what? Migu, that I could have said that what? That I had a good shtar. Seems to be a very, very kind of weird kind of way of thinking. In other words, this forgery was perfect. It was perfect. No one could have gotten it. The Rashbam says, guys, it was a shtar amana. Let's go back to Ksubis. A shtar amana is a star written on trust. You're going to go ahead. You're going to write a shtar that says, I sold you this land. You can have kosher Adam sign the shtar, and you give it over to the guy. Why would you do that? Because you want to make a sale in the future, and you may not have a bezdin or a slave from around. It's called a shtar amana, a star of trust, because you're trusting that the guy is not going to pull he's not going to pull a foot on you, like my father Oliver Shalom would say. He's not going to. So this was a shtar amana. So this shtar, in other words, he's admitting that this shtar isn't a good shtar, meaning I can't collect the shtar. But if he hadn't admitted it, they wouldn't have known. They wouldn't have known otherwise. Believe me, the shtar is a good shtar. Believe me when I'm telling you that I have a good shtar. Midi that what I could have said this shtar is a good shtar. That's Rabbi's migu. That's Rabbi's migu. Okay. Okay. Now says Amalei. So they said to Rabba, Amalei. Take out the word nimchak. Amar shtar ma'al Yehu. I guess Amar they told shtar ma'al Yehu. Amar mali shaka iboy Amar shtar ma'al Yehu. Amalei Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef told Rabba, Amai kosamches. What are you being samech on? A high shtara. You're being samech on the shtar. High shtara chatzim ba'almahu. This shtar is worthless. This shtar is worthless. So therefore, the deal is off. We throw this guy off the property. He doesn't have shonei chazaka. He doesn't have a shtar. Okay, so let's get. We're going to see the Rashbam in a second. Let's set it up, guys. Okay, so this one guy says, "What are you doing on my land?" He says, "I'm on your land. I have a shtar." The guy says the shtar is worthless. The guy admits. He turns down to Rabba. He says the shtar is worthless. Rabba says, "Give it to the guy who said the shtar is worthless." Migu, he could have said what? That the shtar is a good shtar. Good. Says Rabbi Yosef, this shtar is chas ba'alma. Off. That's the case. That's the machlokes. That's the case. For a little more explanation, let's see inside the Rashbam. Okay. Says the Rashbam, a micro samchis, a high shtara. The high shani chazaka leka. This guy does not have shani chazaka. The high shtara chasva ba'almahu. So again, as we spoke out, there's only two ways this guy can viably stay on this land. Either he has shani chazaka or he has a shtar. He has neither, right? The kivon, the oida, since he's maida, that it's a counterfeit. Oida is counterfeit. Now we're going to destroy his migu, and it's not, this migu is not like an other migu. That both tainas are able to be true. Usually, when you have amali the shaker, believe me with this shvacha taina, because I could have said a better taina. But both tainas are possible to be true. Both tainas are possible to be true, right? That's when you say what migu. When both tainas what are possible to be true. Stuor mishal avoisai v'zeh mishal avoisai. Hayai sisadei de avoisai. V'hayai sisadei de ochli shani chazaka. Amarava mali l'shaker. The one who didn't what? Iboy amalach mina chaz levanta. I bought it from you. V'achli shani chazaka. So why did he have to lie? The one who said no edus, he ate shani chazaka. Migu that he didn't have his father. Migu that I bought. He could have said, believe me that what? That it's mine. I could have said this. They're both true. Both things could be true. Over here, what's the taina? Believe me that I have a real shtar. What? I'm telling you that this is not true. I'm telling you this is a counterfeit. Believe me that I have a shtar, a real shtar, right? And I lost it. Says the Rashbam, the reason why Rabbi Yosef said this doesn't work is because the migu is not a good migu. That's why continues the Rashbam. The one that he claims, and the one that he possibly could claim. The mali dummy lamali the shakab makam edim. This is similar to what amali the shakab b'makam edim, which we say is not true. In other words, it doesn't work. Your migu will not be believed Keneged Eidim. All the strength in this karka, is through the star. How could you go ahead, Juan, and say Mali the Shtaka with a star that is a forgery? He's might that it's not a good star. But he does Baldin Kame Aiden Dummy. Listen to this lumdus, guys. We said Migu b'makam Eidim le'amrinon. If you have Eidim Keneged the Migu, you don't say it. Good? What is this guy saying? This is my land, here's the star. The other guy says the star is a forgery. He's being moida that the star is a forgery. As soon as he's moida the star is forgery, Hoidas Baldin is what? Is Kame Eidim Dummy. If Hoidas Baldin is Kame Eidim Dummy, then it's like a Migu b'makam Eidim. As they state in the Rashbam. One more time. We know when it comes to believable, Migu b'makam Eidim doesn't stand up. So you want to have a Migu over here and saying that, believe me that the star is a forgery, Migu, believe me that one, I could have said another time that it was a good star. That's not a good Migu. Why? Because he was moida that this star was what? No good. Hoidos Baldin, the Hoidova Baldin is Kishnei Eidim Dami. It's like 100 Eidim, right? So therefore, you have Eidis that this star is no good. There's no therefore that this Migu, a Migu could go ahead and stand in the place of Eidim. Since the star is no good, Chas Ba'alma, and therefore, according to Rashbam, the explanation of why, what, right? The explanation of the Ramban is that it's a Migu b'makam Eidim. Guys, you good? We all agree with Rav Yosef, don't we? I'm setting you up. We all agree with Rav Yosef. He seems to be telling the truth. Anyway, that's the first case. Next case. The same case, just substitute money for what? Just substitute money for karka. Ha'uda Amar le lechavre, Havli meyazuzi de maskina above. Give me the $100 that you owe me. Hashtara, here's your star that you owe me $100. Amalei shtar is who the star is what is counterfeit. Gachem v'lach shlei l'Rabba. Again, Rabbi gets all these cases, guys. So the guy bows down and says to Rabba, in shtar is who the shtar is takim zuyif. Mi shtar ma'al yahavi lo v'irkis. Mamish the exact. Bamina not in kikai biyade called the exact same case, except what you're changing money for karka. Amar Rabba. Mala l'shaka iboy amalei shtar ma'al yahu. Omer Rabbi Yosef amay kosomkas a high shtara chasva ba'almahu. Omer Avidi Barovin. Okay, exact same case. Listen to this, guys. Hilchasa kavase de Rabba ba'ara. The halacha is like Rabba when it comes to the land. So the case of the land, where he was on the land with the star, even though it's a migu b'makam Eidim, according to the Rashbam, even though it's right, we're going to go ahead and keep it by him. The Hilchasa kavase de Rabbi Yosef bezuzei. And the halacha is Rabbi Yosef when it comes to the case of what? Of money, and we'll leave the money by the loiva. So over here, we'll keep the field by the one who on the field. Over here, by the money, we'll keep it by the money. So basically, guys, what are we paskening? Whoever's muhsik, whoever's holding on to it, will retain ownership. The one who's on the ara, he'll keep it. The Rabbi Yosef bezuzei. The hechid the kaimi zuzei look me. So, who was on the land? The guy with the false star. Who wants to go ahead and take away the money? The guy with the false star. So, where he wants to take away the money, we'll keep the money by the loiva. Where he wants to take away the land, we'll keep them right. We'll keep where he wants to keep the land. We'll keep the land by him. We'll keep the land by him. That's so we did in muhsik. Says the Rashbam. Let's see the Rashbam, why he says this. The Hilchasagabasi, the Rabba Ba'ara, but Oisai din Rishain Dilael, the first din, Misafke Leila Rav Idi Bar Ovin, Tam Shalmi Mishneim Nira Yoiser. He was Mesupik, who made more sense. Rabba with his Migu, or Rabbi Yosef with the Chasva Ba'alma. So he was Mesupik in Psak. Hilkach, Poisik Berishain, Kirabba. He passed in like Rabba. Damina and Ma'aloi l'shaker, v'yamoid al mechloi. The kivin deloy is bariru tamehem shel Rabba v'shel Rabbi Yosef. It wasn't clear. Hamoitzi mechaveru olav araya. Why do we know? It's a mesuping and din. So hamoitzi mechaveru, you have to bring a raya. So therefore, we'll keep it by the guy who's on the land now. The gabi zuzeh shehaloiva muchzik, and by money with the loiv is muchzik, v'loy balashtar, armina yavi balashtar raya v'yito. The hechi the kaima ara the taken. It'll stay over there. Okay, so that's the psak. Okay, so let's go outside. We had two cases, right? Case by land, case by money. Case by land, the guy had a star, he was on the land. Case by loiva, the loiva does not have a star. The malva has a star, he wants to be mitzi. The malva wants to be mitzi from the loiva with a mezuyif star. He has a migu. We can leave the money by the loiva. The other person wants to keep the land with what? With a shvach amigu. We'll let him keep the land. Says the Rashbam, why? We're mesupik who the paskin like, and therefore al sofik hamoitzi mechaveru olav lehevi araya. There's a toisus here that if I didn't do it with you, I would feel I cheated you. I feel I cheated you. Says the Gemara in Ksubis, the following. There was a person named Bar Shatya. He got that name because he was sometimes a shaita, sometimes he was foolish. Sometimes he was normal, sometimes he was foolish. A person comes along and says he bought the land from Bar Shatya and he was okay. We have conflicting edus. One says he was normal, one says he was not. So what do? The two cancel each other out, and we keep it what? By Bar Shatya. That's the case of Uki Trey Bahade Trey, and you keep it by the Marikama. Okay. That's when it's what? That's when you have 2 versus 2. Over here, if you're going to tell me it's a suffix, that's not kind of like, why should I keep it by Marikama over here? A suffix had a paskin is not the same suffix as who to believe. I got 2 versus 2. I don't know who to believe. Get rid of them. Keep it where the cheskes Marikama. Keep it by the owner. Over here, according to the Rashbam, it has nothing to do with I don't know a suffix in Mitzias. It's a suffix in din. I don't know how to paskin. Mehecha tesu, where you don't know how to paskin, you keep it by the Marikama. Where do you know that when you just because you know who the paskin like, whether according to the Rashbam, whether Rabbi Yosef was right that it's chasva ba'alma, or Rabbi was right with the migu, so you can keep by the marikama. Mehecha taste of that. Look at Taisus, guys. Bilchas gavase the Rabba ba'ara. Rabbeinu Shmuel Pirish the Mesafkele Keman Hilchasa the Tzarich Litchik will farish will chalik being sveika. We have to make a difference between sveika the trey with trey, the sveika the dina. The loy ukma becheskas marikama kemoy benichse. Again, we're not keeping it by the cheskas marikama. Guys, in the case that we have, the guy with the star is not the marikama. Guys, what's the first case? What are you doing on my field? I bought it from you and I have a star. The star is not a star. So if you're going to put 2 versus 2, what should you do? You should give it to the guy we knew was his field. We're not giving it back to the marikama. What's the difference by us? We're not giving it to the marikama, and there in Ksubis we are. I hear clearly. Over here, the marikama is not getting the land. The marikama is not getting the land. We're keeping it by the guy with the migu. Why? Because we don't know how to paskin. So if you don't know how to paskin, why in the world is he keeping it? You should give it back to the marikama, like the Barshatya. This is what Taisus is bothering Taisus. The ukmin becheskes marikama k'may b'nichsei de Barshatya. Darminan uki trei bahadi trei uki nichsei becheskes Barshatya. What's the difference? Hasam have a trey utrey kiman the lesna dami. Therefore, they're not there at all. If they're not there at all, in other words, if 2 people say he was normal, 2 people say he was nuts, they're out. So where does it remain? Like they never came at all. If they never came at all, where are we keeping it? By Shatya, the Marikama. Okay. Buki ara becheskes Marikama. Aval hacha, but over here, there's sveikalon dina. The suffix not in edus. The suffix is had a paskin, like Rabbi Rav Yosef, Kiman, Hasan le Shayach Kuli Hai Lemema Upmi Cheskes Marikama. There it's not Shayach to say we keep it in the Marikama, Vidnoitzimi Yara Muchzik, and to take it out of the hands of the Muchzik. Vidoichiku, it's Doichik. So the first Tosis wants to make a beautiful chilik. He finds it a Doichik, but I find it a very interesting chilik, right? Outside. Rabbi Kiva Eger explains it like this. There's a chazaka me'ikara that paskins a din. Bar Shatya's case, 2 Eidim say he was normal, 2 Eidim say he was nuts. The chazaka that it belonged to Bar Shatya paskins that what? It stays by him. Says Rabbi Yosef, I have a migu. So now, this field now is in the hands of who? A person who is not the Marikama. 2 people say, no, 1 person says that it was my land, I bought it from you, and I have a shtar. This person says that shtar is Mezuyif. The suffix of the din now, who we paskin like, could not go ahead and take it away from the muhsik. Because it's not a psak, says Rabbi Kiva Ega, that chazaka that can clarify a psak. We're still misupik as to who is who. It's a very clear distinction to me. I'm trying to give it over to you as clear as I can. When you have 2 verses 2, it's like they never came in the first place. So the chazaka of Marikama says it's like they never came in the first place. We clear the air. You're not here. Where the shaila is in the psak din, the suffix who the paskin like, then the cheskes Marikama cannot clarify that. So we leave it by the muhsik. That's what he said. That's the first teretz of Taisus. That's what Taisus says. Now, the Meshech Chochma in the Ar Sameach and Tesfa V'Toy V'Nitein says something very interesting. He says view a scale. View a scale. You have a scale, and you have 2 versus 2. It's totally balanced. You take it away, it's totally balanced. However, if you have a suffix and psak, the view it is like it's an unbalanced scale. You know the paskin like, so therefore it's unbalanced, and therefore you're not going to go ahead and just keep it where it was. I mean, put it back to where it was. It's an unbalanced scale. Okay, the Taisus says it's like the last teretz of Taisus. I'll give it over to you. Is that amigu helps to be machzik, but it doesn't help to be mitzi. Amigu helps to be machzik, but it can't be mitzi. So in the first case, the migu that Rabbi had can be machzik to keep it by the original, by the guy who has it now. In the second case, by money, migu can't go ahead and take the money away from the loiva. That's the difference between the 2. Okay. Let's finish the daf. Hu Arva, there was this Orev, he was a cosigner. Hu Arva, there was this cosigner. The Amalela Loiva, who told the Loiva, right, Havli Meya Zuzi, give me 100 zuz, the Parati Lamalvi Lavach, I paid for you. Okay, guys, usually this is the way cosigner works. You go from the malva goes to the lova. If the lova should pay, if the lova can't pay, then you go to the cosigner. If, however, there was a stipulation that you can go to either one, or he was an oirev that was a kablin, or he was an oirev that was a kablin, he was a different type of, then means you can go to him initially, guys. You can go to him initially. So this case is speaking about an oirev that you can go to what? Initially. You're able to go to him. So he claims that guy came to him, the malva came to him, and he paid off the loan. And now he's going ahead. The malva gave him the shtar. And he wants to use the shtar to collect from the loiva. He wants to use the shtar, collect from the loiva, and he has every right to. Okay. Here's the shtar. Amalei, the loiva said to the oirev, Lav pratich, did I not pay you already? Did I pay you? Amar, said the oirev to the loiva, Lav hadris shaklesinu minoi, did you not go ahead and take it again, another loan? So here's the shaila, guys. This shtar was viable for the first loan. it's not viable for the second loan. The first loan that the Oyev co-signed for, he was a player. The second loan, right, that he wants to use the shtar for, it really is not a shtar that was written for this loan. It was a shtar written for the previous loan. So Sholcha Ravidi Barovin L'Kameda Abaya Kihai Gavnamai. What's the din in this case? So Sholach Abaya, Abaya answered Ravidi Barovin, Mighty Boilach what's your shaila? Ha'iyud Omar Hilchos Hakavasi the Rabba Ba'ara Hilchos Hakavasi the Rabbi Yosef B'Susei. L'chayra, this is the exact same case. This shtar, guys, has the same status l'chayra as the previous shtar. The previous shtar wasn't good because it's a counterfeit. This shtar is not good because it wasn't written for this loan. So just like over there, we paskin the halacha is like Rabbi Yosef, Hai shtar chas ba'almahu, and you can't collect with it. So too, this orev would not be able to collect from the loiva. So the heicha the ukmi zuzay, look me, wherever the zuz is, we're going to keep it. So we're going to keep it by the loiva. Says the Gemara, Bahani Mili, the Amalei, the orev told the loiva, Hadras asvisnihu minoi. You went ahead and I lent you money. If the orev said to the loiva, Hadrasinu nelech machmas to have a shayfi v'sumki, the money you gave me for the original guys, for the original loan. In other words, I paid, he's masking. Guys, the Orev paid up the loan. The loiv is now coming saying, I paid you back. If the Orev claims that you paid me back, but I didn't accept the money, then the original shtar is still viable. And therefore, akati isul l'shivudi d'shtara, and therefore the Orev would be believed. So when's he not believed? That's what he says that what paid you back. You know, it's, oh, I relent you? Then he's not believed because the shtar is chas b'alma. But if he says that what, I didn't accept the money you gave me for the first loan, then it's still viable, the shtar, and he's still in business. Okay, a little heavy duty daf.